Hi, my name is Michael White, and I'm going to take you on a tour through the InPhase plugin by Waves. The InPhase plugin is a comprehensive tool for phase correction and phase manipulation. It comes in mono and a stereo component, and there are two basic versions of the plugin. There is the full version that you see here, and then there is the InPhase LT version, which is a stripped down version of the full version, primarily taking away the waveform display and monitor sections. The two different variations of the plugin will operate with a 20 millisecond latency. And if you need a latency-free version for live applications, then you can instantiate the InPhase Live plugin. And the primary difference being is that the delay compensation will only go in a positive direction, whereas in the full version you can go positive or negative in terms of the left versus right audio phase correlation. Now, when we first open up the plugin, we can look at the phase from two basic perspectives. We can look at it from a singular phase, which is just as simple as a 180-degree flip, and that's just as simple as maybe a bad miswired mic cable or inadvertently selecting the phase inversion at your mic preamp on the microphone. And then there is the phase relationship between two audio signals. And whenever there's a phase correlation, it's the same audio signal that's being received by two different sources at two different times. This could be something as simple as a DI in a mic for a bass, where it would take a certain amount of extra time to go through the amplification, speaker, and microphone by comparison to the direct signal. And this could also be, in this case, like a pair of overhead mics. So what we have here is a snare sample, and you can see that there's a difference in the time it gets to the left overhead sooner than the right overhead, and we can make a correction accordingly from that perspective. The plugin primarily operates with two basic channels. Whether you're working in the mono component, which you see here an alpha channel and a sidechain channel, which becomes the phase reference, or in the stereo version where we have an alpha channel and a beta channel. Now, this can work in two different process modes. If the alpha channel is selected to channel 1, then the right side signal will automatically be fed to the beta channel. Now, we can also operate this in stereo with a sidechain mode. So what this does is it puts the left side audio and right audio signal into the alpha channel, and then the beta now becomes the reference signal. So for example, we could feed a send through a snare, or a snare through a send, and feed that to a bus, and that key input would now become the phase reference that we would use to phase align our overheads. Now, there are many ways that we can, operate or use this type of thing, but let's start with the basic stereo component and talk about how it would work from there. When you look at the plugin from its fundamental point of view, we have a gain control. This would allow us to adjust gain of the left versus right channel if there was any difference there. A very simple 180-degree phase invert, so I can adjust the gain or phase inversion for both sides. And then I have a delay compensation, and this would allow me in the full version to manipulate the right audio signal relative to the left, or the left audio signal relative to the right. So let's go about the process of how we would set that up. So I'll switch over here quickly to the A side. And what I've done here is I've selected a bit of audio that's under the plugin, and I'm going to capture this section of audio. It doesn't matter what section of the audio as long as it has some audio signal that would be a good phase reference. So you see here what we have is the snare audio signal that's here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this marker to that snare hit there, and then I can use the slider down at the bottom here to open up or zoom in on the display. This marker becomes valuable because I can use this as a reference, and I can also adjust the amplitude of the envelope display here in the window by adjusting the sliders on the right. I can even unlink them and adjust the left side relative to the right side if one reference signal is larger or smaller than the other. Now, when I work with it, I can actually work from the timing perspective. If I wanted to center the snare drum in the overheads, I could actually drag the waveform display and move it, and I have a nice phase correlation meter down here at the bottom, which would show me how correct I am. Or I could use the delay slider, and I can move either the left to the right or use the right to the left. In either case, I can work and correct the two sides from each other. Now, if I listen to the audio signal, right, I can hear the difference between this and this. Right, so now I can hear that the audio signal is centered a little bit more correctly. In the monitor section, I can also operate in mono. which would essentially allow me to listen to the audio signal summed to mono, which is very helpful for phase correcting stereo signals. I could also listen to the alpha channel or the beta channel, which may be the sidechain signal, and make adjustments accordingly. Now, where the InPhase plugin becomes really valuable is in its ability to apply this phase correction only within particular frequency areas. And this is the application of the all-pass filter section here, where I can actually, in this display, it shows 0 phase to 180-degree phase, and I can apply different filters, which would be, so for example, it may be that if I'm operating a bass, DI, and an amp, then the audio signal might have, might get the low end in phase, but now there's some high frequency loss. So I could actually sweep in to a particular frequency and phase invert only that particular frequency area while leaving the rest of the frequencies alone. And it gives me 2 filters per section that I can apply. And as you can see, when I sweep the frequency in the filter, how it changes the audio waveform display here. So I have those 2 filters, and I could do the left side to the right side or the right side to the left side. This is a basic overview of the Waves InPhase plugin. A very powerful tool, particularly when you get into some of the all-pass filtering sections, and a great way to do phase alignment of overheads, multiple mics on any instrument. Very valuable, very powerful. Also operates in Pro Tools as an audio suite component, so you can work with it that way. You can work with it on auxiliary tracks in any basic way that you can use an audio plugin. There you have it, the InPhase plugin by Waves.